It's a great question. Is it worth keeping an investment property in retirement? And the way I think about it, one is firstly get context. So context is just saying, well, how does this fit into my plan? And we talk about real financial planning, having a real financial plan, which is just quite simply, where am I now? What are my goals I'm trying to achieve? Then what are the strategies and tactics I'm going to utilize? Bring that together in a plan, then execute the plan. So we firstly should build a plan before we answer this question. So our core principal belief is the best financial decisions are made as part of a plan. So for the property, we'll firstly see whether these people need to sell it, like do they need to pay off a mortgage, etc. What's it competing against in terms of other strategies? Is it if they keep that property, do they have to pull money out of super to pay off the property? So I'll give you some bookend extremes. Let's say someone has 400,000 in super, they've got $1 million property with 400,000 mortgage, and they get out of their super, they pay off the property, and they've only got that one property. $1 million in a property after rates, after taxes, is probably only going to produce about $35,000 or $40,000 a year in income. For most people we know that's not going to be enough in retirement. Now if it is, happy days, you can do that. If you also had another source of income, then that might be a yes, but for most people it's going to be a no. You'd be better off to sell that property, put the rest in the super, and $1 million in super, you might get 50, 60,000 a year for 30 years in retirement. You'd run it down, so you wouldn't have as much legacy, but if you're trying to live a good retirement, that would be a case where you'd be better off not to have the property. But let me give you another example, and this is, we had some clients, and in the lead up to retiring, they bought 3 properties, negatively geared, and this was before we met them. So when we met them, we said, well, hopefully this will work. If it doesn't work, because the challenge with gearing, 10 years later, if property prices haven't gone up, of which there's been plenty of periods in Australia's history, you've wasted that whole 10 years. Whereas putting money regularly into super or other investments, you get that steady growth. Now in their case, the markets supported them in the end. Took a while. There was 5 or 7 years where it was a little bit shaky, but then they got to the point, and in the meantime they'd been building their super. So their super was enough to at least get 20 or 30 good years of retirement. But at the point of retirement, they were able to say, well, let's keep them. We think the market's still running strong, and then they were strategic. We talk about the 2 or 3 best times to sell a property. One is never, for people where it will contribute enough to their world. Never sell it, never pay any taxes. But that's only where you've got enough properties that you don't need to sell. The other time is after retirement, when you can manage the capital gains tax better. But the best time often is after retirement and during a crazy boom. So you've all seen property goes through these 3 stages, one of which is long periods of boring where it doesn't do much. Then we get these booms, and occasionally we go, wow, this is crazy. Everything's doubled in the last 4 years. Now it's really doubled in 15 or 18 years, but it feels like it's doubled in 4. So if you're going to be selling, that's a good time. And if you need it to round out your investment portfolio, but every now and then, so in these particular clients' case, we end up selling 2, clearing debt, keeping 1 property, adding the rest to super, still got their house plus an investment property plus a couple of million in super. So there's no one answer. Get the plan right, get the context about the decision, and then you'll be able to make a smart decision. But planning, do the maths, and then also contextually work out where we are in the market cycle. We, in our monthly report to our clients, we do a video to our clients every month. It's on our website. We talk about where property markets are in the property clock. And so if we're talking about selling when a property is crazy, we can assess that vaguely, not precisely, but pretty good using this property clock. So if you've got a property and you're working out whether you should sell it or not, you should know where it is in terms of the cycle of this property clock. So between the planning, doing the maths, consider tax, where's the market in terms of the cycle, you'll be better off to make a decision, and what are all your other assets and planning.